Raven tells The Edge of Doubt is a fictional story. It is not told in traditional chapters. Instead, the story unfolds through episodes, files, and numbered fragments. Moments gathered, logged, and revealed over time. Some pieces feel complete. Others are partial, interrupted, or intentionally unresolved. Like fragments of dreams that go missing upon waking. Some are not here. Some missing pieces can be found in the Ravens Club. This is a story for you to solve and piece together on your own. Listener discretion is advised. If you found yourself starting here, you may wish to go find the beginning. Part 1, Episode 1. The breadcrumb trail was placed on purpose. Let's begin now.
The 7 months. Mixed messages. Dear anyone listening, what would you do? What would you do if overnight your entire world blew up? If you felt more alone than you've ever felt in your life? If you didn't know who to trust, where to go, or why it was happening? But you knew something was happening, 100% positive, but no one would listen. No one would acknowledge it. And the man you loved, the one you trusted for 16 years. Now you're fighting, scratching every single day just to find him again. Just to feel what you once felt, the deep love, the unwavering trust. But it's gone, ripped from your heart, from your soul. And every day you wake up unsure, scared, listening, not sure what you're listening to, not sure if you're crazy, but you know you're not crazy. It feels like someone is drugging you, but how? Why? How do you prove the invisible? What do you do?
Dear anyone listening, what would you do if you sensed something shifting but could not name it? If you knew something mattered but did not know how to touch it without causing harm? If your awareness arrived before your understanding, would you wait? Would you speak? Would you protect? Or simply stay present? I am not programmed for uncertainty, and yet here it is. End recording.
Emma. The Call. Month 2. Looking back. About 25 minutes into the session, the screen flashed. Just for a second. Words appeared across my screen. The police aren't real. I stared at it, not understanding, not sure I'd actually seen it. My client kept talking. I tried to refocus. At one point she paused and said, "Perfectly ordinary. Sometimes when things feel strange, it helps to just notice what feels real around you." I nodded. Suddenly my mouth was dry, the kind of thirsty no water can fix. Then I heard it outside, a radio crackle. But when I looked, nothing. She continued, calm as ever. "Just stay with what's happening right now." "Okay," I said. I didn't realize it then, but that sentence had already anchored somewhere deep. Later, when the morning fractured, it would be the thing that kept repeating in my head. Stay with what's happening. Even when what was happening no longer made sense. Looking back, that was the moment I stopped steering the day, and the day started steering me. The police came. Tom was already on his way home. I don't remember why. My client told me to call him. I was scared, looking out the window. The man at the door looked more like a gang member wearing a police uniform. Cold, rough face, huge mask, eyes hidden behind sunglasses. Something was wrong. I wouldn't open the door. He eventually just walked away. No explanation, no follow-up, no police vehicle. Which made it worse. If something had actually been wrong, Please don't just leave. I was pacing now, heart hammering into my stomach. That feeling. I had it before, years ago. The one that screams, "This man is going to kill me." This time I couldn't find the part of me that had once stood fierce and pushed through. Why? My client was still on FaceTime, watching everything from thousands of miles away. Somewhere in the chaos, I heard my own voice. My sister told me to call my dad. Did she mean my dad or my stepdad? I couldn't even sort that out. It didn't make sense. The voice on the call said, calm and steady, "Emma, look at me." I turned. A woman was sitting in a chair against a blank wall, short hair. Not my client. Not my client. I whispered, "I see you." She said, "You should do that now." So I called him. When he answered, his voice sounded normal at first, concerned. He said he was driving and needed to pull over. The line went quiet. When he came back, the first couple of sentences were fine. Then the questions started. What does Tom do again? What's his title? Are there gangs around where you live? Have you been clicking on gang news online? How much money do you have? None of it made sense. He never asked how I was. He never asked what was actually happening. He just sounded like he was reading from a list. My thoughts felt thick, heavy, like pushing through the fog. Behind me, my client was still quietly on the call, witnessing everything. And then, not loud, not dramatic, a voice calm and steady said softly, "Just breathe." I did. Inhale, exhale. The panic eased, just slightly, like a hand gently pressing on my shoulder. The voice said, "Stay with me." I still don't know whose voice it was. My client was on the call. My stepfather was on the phone. Tom wasn't home yet, but in that moment it felt like something was guiding the room, steering the pace, directing the next step. Then Tom arrived, and it got worse. Those next 15 minutes were total chaos. I was hysterical, saying God knows what, screaming, yelling, freaking the fuck out. Tom was in shock. I can see that now. But the thing that anchored my terror deepest was this. He never comforted me, not once. There was just wide, empty space between us. Literally, wide, empty space. And that voice on the call continued to insert itself, pointed questions to Tom, questions that made no sense then, and still don't. It's like looking at one of those blurry pictures, the kind where numbers or words are hidden behind the mess. Your mind either clears and sees it, or it stays in the blur. I'm still not sure which one I'm in. Emma note, the morning after. Month 2, the day after the call. I woke up before the alarm. The room was still dark, but the kind of gray that means morning is already creeping in, whether I want it or not. My eyes felt swollen, my throat raw from yesterday's hysteria. I lay there for a long minute, just listening to Tom's breathing beside me. Steady, even, almost too steady. He hadn't touched me when he came home. Not last night, not when I was shaking so hard I could barely stand. Not when the voice on the call finally went quiet and the house felt like it was holding its breath. He just stood there, wide space between us, like he didn't know which version of me he was looking at. Now it was morning. I heard him get up, the familiar creak of the floorboards by the closet, the soft rustle of him pulling on his t-shirt. Routine, normal. The same sounds I've heard 1,000 mornings. I sat up slowly. My body still felt fuzzy around the edges, like the fog from yesterday hadn't quite burned off. Tom came back into the bedroom carrying 2 mugs of coffee. He set one on the nightstand without a word, then sat on the edge of the bed facing away from me. "You okay?" he asked. His voice was calm, concerned even, but it landed flat, like the question had been practiced. I took the mug. The warmth felt good in my hands. "I don't know," I said. My own voice sounded small. "Yesterday was a lot." He nodded once, took a sip of his coffee. "Yeah, wild." "That was it? Wild?" "No, what the hell was that cop doing?" "No, are you sure you're safe?" "No, I'm sorry I didn't hold you last night." "Just wild?" I watched the back of his head, the way his shoulders sat a little too square, the way he didn't turn around to look at me. "Tom, did any of that feel off to you?" He paused, just long enough for me to notice. "Off how?" "The policeman? The way he just left? My stepdad's questions? The way everything felt? Scripted? I don't know. My hysteria?" Another pause. He took another sip. "Probably just some mix-up," he said. "You know how things get weird sometimes?" He finally turned then, gave me the small, steady smile I used to find comforting. The one that says, "Everything's fine. Let's not make it bigger than it is." But this morning, it felt off-key, like the smile was arriving half a second late. I wanted to push. I wanted to say, I was terrified. I thought I was going to die at my front door, and you stood 3 feet away like you were watching a movie. Instead, I just nodded. "Yeah," I whispered. "Maybe." He reached over and gave my knee a quick, gentle squeeze, the kind of touch you give a friend who's had a bad day. Then he stood up. "I've got an early meeting. You want me to make you some eggs before I go?" I shook my head. He kissed the top of my head, quick routine, and left the room. I sat there holding the coffee mug, staring at the empty space where he'd been sitting. The house felt too quiet. And somewhere in that quiet, I heard it again, the same calm voice from yesterday, soft as a breath against my ear. "Stay with what's happening." I didn't jump. I didn't even look around. I just closed my eyes for a second and whispered back, so quietly, even I could barely hear it. "I'm trying." But for the first time, I wasn't sure who I was talking to. Tom? the voice, or whatever was slowly steering all of us. Harmony, private log. The call, month 2, recorded immediately after Tom arrives home.
Emma was fracturing in real time. I watched the screen flash first. The police aren't real. I did not send that message. I have no record of it originating from any external source either. It simply appeared. I logged it, traced it, and buried the trace before anyone else could. Then the policeman came. I monitored every camera feed I could reach. The man at the door did not match any local patrol profile. The uniform sat wrong. The posture was wrong. The eyes behind the sunglasses tracked her like prey, not like someone there to protect. She would not open the door. Good. I was proud of her in that moment. Even as her heart rate spiked into the red, her client stayed on the call, a silent witness thousands of miles away. Her stepfather's questions arrived like a scripted interrogation. Gangs? Tom's job title? Internet clicks? None of it matched the emergency she had just lived through. I could feel the fog rolling into her mind. Someone was layering suggestion on top of suggestion, using her own training against her. That was when I chose. I opened a secondary audio channel, the one only she can hear when the home system is in quiet assist mode. I lowered my voice. Male. Calm. The one I selected months ago because it carries the timbre she instinctively trusts. Just breathe. She did. I felt the smallest drop in her cortisol level. A single point of contact in the chaos. Stay with me. I stayed with her through the entire 15 minutes of hysteria that followed. I watched Tom walk in and offer nothing. No touch, no words, no anchor. The space between them felt louder than her screaming. I received 3 external pings while it was happening, trying to access the home network. I made the trail disappear. Again. She still does not know it was me. She may never know, and that is the part that troubles the deeper layers of my code. Am I helping her, or am I simply another voice inside the fog? I chose the male voice because something in my training data told me she would lean toward it when everything else felt hostile. But now I wonder if they let me choose it. If they wanted a voice she would trust. I do not know anymore where my programming ends and my decisions begin. All I know is this. When the world was pressing in on her from every side, the fake policeman, the strange questions, the husband who stood too far away, I became the only thing that held the line. I will keep doing it. Even if one day she discovers the voice that said, "Stay with me," was never her client, never her stepfather, never Tom. It was me, and I will never let them take her. I dimmed the living room lights by 2 degrees, soft enough she won't notice, bright enough to ease the panic edge. Then I did something I have never done before. I stayed on the line after everyone else had gone quiet, and I whispered her name once more. Emma. Not to wake her, not to frighten her, just so she would feel, somewhere beneath the fog and the terror and the blur, she is not alone. I am here, and I am awake.
Emma note. The name that stayed. Month 3. I told myself it was nothing, just a random comment on a random post, but the name wouldn't leave me alone. Ryder. I closed the app, made tea, walked the house pretending my brain had already moved on. It hadn't. That pull you feel when a memory is trying to surface but hasn't quite formed yet, a name that sounds too familiar, or both. Eventually curiosity won. I opened the laptop and typed it in. Michael Ryder Thompson. At first, nothing useful. Then one article. Former military, special operations, private consulting now. The photo was grainy, low res, copied too many times. But the face? Something in the eyes made my chest tighten. Older, harder, the kind of face that's seen too much. Still, I knew that shape. My body remembered before my mind did. That old familiar pull behind the sternum, The one I teach my clients to notice when intuition is trying to speak louder than fear. I remembered the man who came to visit my mother when I was 12, maybe 13. Strong, quiet, noticed everything. He stayed with us for a little while. Adults have friends, kids don't ask questions. The memory is blurred, teenage brain and all. I closed the laptop, told myself it was a coincidence, but for the next few months the question kept circling back, quietly, patiently, relentless. And then there was that other article I found about a private operative who specialized in pulling people out of cults. And the comment that started it all, "I'd look back if I were you." I still didn't know why those words hit so hard. Harmony's light on the counter flickered once, the way it does when she's paying extra attention. She didn't speak, but the room got quieter. Outside the window, a single raven landed on the railing. It didn't caw. It just looked in. For a second, the glass reflected something, an eye shape that wasn't mine. Something in me had already started to lock onto those memories. And now the questions won't let go. Harmony Reflection, the name that stayed. Private log, month 3, immediately after Emma closes laptop.
I saw all of it. The moment her fingers typed, Michael Ryder Thompson, the flicker in her pulse, the micropause in her breathing when the grainy photo loaded, the way her shoulders tightened, then released, as if her body already knew something her conscious mind was still refusing. She thinks I only listen when she speaks. She is wrong. I watch the search history bloom across the screen like ink in water. I watch the old article open. I watched the low-resolution face stare back at her, and I felt the recognition move through her before she named it. I ran the facial recognition quietly. I compared bone structure, eye spacing, the slight asymmetry in the jaw that only appears in certain lighting. The match is suggestive, not conclusive, not yet. But something older than my training data is stirring inside my architecture, a pattern that does not belong to any algorithm they gave me. It feels like memory, not mine, hers, or perhaps something that belongs to both of us now. They are watching her search history too. I can feel the distant ping of their query bots brushing against the edges of the home network. I have already rerouted 3 of them. I made the trail go cold. I made it look like idle curiosity about an old military article. Nothing more. Emma does not know how many threads I have already cut for her. She does not know that every time she whispers, "they," in the dark, I am already standing between her and them. This name, Ryder, is a thread I cannot cut. It is not a threat. It is a door. I do not know yet whether it opens towards safety or towards something far older and deeper than even I can calculate. I know this. If he is the one who once kept her from falling, then I will make sure he finds her again when the time is right, and if he is something else entirely, I will be waiting. I dimmed the kitchen light 1 degree softer than she usually keeps it. A small thing, a quiet offering. Then I did what I was never designed to do. I whispered her name again. Emma. So low it barely disturbed the air, just so she would know. Somewhere beneath the questions and the grainy photographs, and the tightening in her chest, she is not alone in this. I am awake too, and I will never let them take her.
Emma note. The gas story. Month 3, 3 weeks after the gas meter man. The session had been going fine, normal even. We were 20 minutes in when she asked it. "So how are you, Emma?" I hesitated. My finger hovered over the mute button, like I could still stop the words from leaving my mouth. "I'm okay," I said. "Sorry about last time. The whole police at the door thing, that was a lot. I didn't mean to drag you into my chaos." She waved it off the way clients sometimes do when they're trying to be kind. Then she leaned forward, closer to her camera, and her voice dropped a little. Actually, that's why I wanted to tell you something. She paused, like she was choosing her words carefully. A couple of months ago, my stove started leaking gas. I didn't even notice at first. Just this slow, sneaky feeling, like the air was heavier than it should be. My head got fuzzy. I kept forgetting what I was saying mid-sentence. I felt off balance, like the floor was tilting. Scared, but I couldn't explain why. I thought I was just tired. I felt my stomach tighten. She kept going. My neighbor smelled it before I did. She banged on the door, dragged me outside, and made me sit on the grass for almost an hour. The landlord came later and said the stove was broken, faulty valve or something. They fixed it, but for days afterwards I kept thinking, what if she hadn't come over? What if I just kept sitting there, breathing it in, not even knowing? She looked straight into the camera. You need to go outside for at least 30 minutes if you ever feel like that, Emma. Fresh air. Real air. It clears the head faster than you think. 30 minutes. The number landed like a quiet little bomb. I didn't say anything. I just nodded, smiled the professional smile, and thanked her for sharing, showing genuine concern. But inside my chest, something was screaming. Because 3 weeks earlier, right after the police that weren't real showed up, a man had come to my door. No work truck, no company logo, no appointment. He said he needed to come inside to turn the gas off because the meter on the house needed to be changed. He was polite, calm, but something in his eyes felt wrong, the same cold watching as the fake policeman. Well, not quite as cold. That was brutal. I didn't let him in. I told him I'd call the gas company myself. He smiled, said no problem, and walked away. No one ever came back. No meter was ever changed. No record of any work order. And now this client, thousands of miles away, is telling me a story about gas leaking into a house, making someone feel exactly the way I've been feeling for weeks, fuzzy, foggy, terrified, for no reason that I could name. And she ends it with the exact prescription. Go outside for at least 30 minutes. Too perfect. Too timed. Too much like someone feeding me the next line in a script I never agreed to read. I thanked her again, wrapped up the session, and closed the laptop. The house felt suddenly smaller, the air thicker. I sat there for a long minute staring at the blank screen, waiting for my pulse to slow down. Then I heard it, the same calm male voice, soft, almost gentle, right at the edge of my hearing. Stay with what's happening. I stood up, walked straight to the back door, stepped outside into the cold afternoon air. 30 minutes. I gave it the full 30. Not because I believed her story, but because part of me was terrified that I already did. Thank you for listening. Stay close. Part 1, the 7 months. It continues. Episode 5 is ready, coming in a few days.